Welcome one and all to this 46th, I believe, episode of D&D with me, Mike.
And me, Zoe.
And today we are going to work on our saving system.
Boom.
To change it and add those sort of teleportation areas. Oh, interesting. These switches... Wait. These switches must have been pressed. Let's do some quick testing here. So we're gonna go to the game manager, debug load defaults, hit play, stop. Game manager remove debug log defaults, and let's immediately try and figure out. Okay, so as you can see, we can't pick things up, but we can attack. $10. Yay.
There's one more raise down there.
Oh, wait. I know why the switches aren't working. They're actually working correctly. They will only get saved if we save somewhere else. So that makes sense to me. We need a saving device. Okay, let's do that first. So, number one is let's add a saving device somewhere. The second level, I say we leave it alone. But the third one, I think we can totally add a saving.
So a spawn point.
Yes, spawn point. View, show grid.
We're in entity tiles.
Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. In the world, we're going to add some room right here as we enter, and right here in the middle
We're gonna put a save point,
we're gonna put a save point.
which should be cyan.
Not sure, but we need to export this first, so hit Control-Shift-D and we're gonna go to textures, map. So now let's expose the entities. On entities, grab this, put it here. And now we're going to hide this.
Oh, that's a ladder.
Now I want to see the entity info. There is no entity info, so that's interesting, right? Okay, so as soon as you hop on that particular thing, you're going to save. Okay?
Okay.
Yes. So let's now... Is there anything else we should do? I don't think so. No. So let's export the entities. Control-Shift-D. Entities. Replace. Export. Okay, so we're gonna have these entities ready. And now all we need to do is make it actually work. So let's go take a look at our prefabs. Map, world, never mind, entities, spawn point. So let's look at the spawn point real quick. So there's an issue with the spawn point. The spawn point has nothing, right? We're gonna need a trigger collider of some sort. And I think we have trigger area.
Well, good.
So our spawn point, which has nothing, we're gonna call it trigger area. Yes, change children. And to this child, we're going to add a component. Type C. Sphere collider, I guess.
Some sort of flat.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. I think exactly where it is just fine. So when you hop on it, let's increase its scale just a tiny bit. There, like so. 0.6. Does that, we're gonna leave it at 0. We might move it up a little bit. Just like here or whatever. Yeah, 0.6. There we go.
Now we need to make what it can collide with and what it can't.
It's already done. So if I recall correctly, in the project settings in physics, trigger area only collides with player and enemy. So that's interesting. This one will have to ignore the enemy.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Trigger area should be the switch, which should be triggered by an enemy.
The spawn point only has an interactive entity and a map entity. So let's go take a look at the interactive entity. It's going to have a non-trigger enter. Something will have a non-trigger enter, whether it's the player or this thing. It's not this thing. Let's quickly check if map entity has a trigger. It does not. Spawn point doesn't matter. Yeah, well, I think we're fine that way. I mean, I would still like to have some kind of like particle system for saving that indicates you've saved. And I think it should heal you as well. This thing. Probably. I don't know. Anyway, so none of these help us. So let's go take a look at the player and hit Control MO. We want to check the player and the enemy. So, does the enemy have an on collision?
Yes.
That's fine, but not on trigger, so it doesn't matter. And the player, the player also doesn't have an on trigger enter.
Which one has it? I saw enable attack trigger. I saw enable attack trigger, but
no, but that's not it.
That's not what we want.
Okay, let me take a look at the switch. Hit Control MO.
On trigger enter.
Hit Control MO anyway. Alright, so on trigger enter. That's where it is. I think that's still a good idea. So let's create a small script that will deal with the spawn point. So create C# script, call it spawn point.
Then we need to make dying a thing.
Now we're gonna wait for it to compile. Okay, now the spawn point, I don't think it really needs a setup. Hit Control S to save. Yeah, I don't think it really needs a setup, but it may be useful to make it do things. For now, just go void on trigger enter. There it is. Yeah, remove this, rename this one to C, save. Now the first thing we need to do is check that C's layer is going to be the player. So you want to do this, you want to do if, open round, C dot attached rigid body dot dot game object dot layer, and open round bracket layer, close round bracket, capitals.
Oh yeah, it's a union.
Close, equals, tab, dot, yeah, close round, open squiggle, hit enter twice, close it, save. Okay, now in the game manager there should be something to save. Hopefully. Save, so this is save profile, and save all spikes, save all switches. This is how it's done. And we've never used these. At least I think so. Control S to save. Hit Control F. Now I bet you this isn't called anywhere. That's right. So save all spikes and save all switches. We had already prepared this before. But we also need to save our new position. So let's see here. Player attributes, current money, spawn quadrant, spawn chords. See these? These are never touched. We're gonna touch them now. So right here you can say public void. Oh dear, I'm gonna sneeze. Save spawn information. Open around, and you're gonna request 2 vector 2 ints. One is gonna be called the quadrant, and the other one's gonna be called the coordinate. Yeah, and then comma vector 2 int chord. Close the round, open a squiggle, hit enter twice. There we go. So this will be really useful. Copy this entire method. Let's do the spawn point and gamemanager.script.paste. Open round. Okay, so for the quadrant, we need to get the player's current quadrant. Let's see if we have access to it. So go gamemanager.script.player current quadrant. There it is, comma. And now we need our own position. Wait, I can't quite remember how we find a position, but my bet is our map is gonna have that information. So let's go to map. Oh, wait. I think I remember. The way we usually set up the map entities, we set them up with the color, the world coordinates, and the quadrant coordinates. That I would prefer that. So let's copy this entire thing for the treasure chest. Paste it right here. Spawn point. SP. Copy. Paste. Copy. Paste. Paste. Save. Okay, so this is... Yeah, no problem. Here you create a... Okay, wait, let me show you a trick actually. So... Which one was it? Map entity. So you see here you get this error, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hit Alt and Alt Enter, I think it is. And here it gives you a bunch of options. Extract method, so it makes you create a method for it. Generate method spawn point dot setup. It's gone away. You see that?
Yeah.
It's built a new. Isn't that cool?
Mm-hmm.
So cut it. I'm gonna put it right here. Make it public.
What is internal?
Internal is another type of public. Save.
And what's a throw?
So throw exception is just an error handling system. So it allows you to tell your console in your program, hey, this isn't implemented. Right? Now we don't need it. Exceptions are basically handled errors. Now we don't care about that because we're going to implement it right now. So we don't really use the color, at least not to my knowledge, so that shouldn't be a problem. But what we will do is we will tell it, we will store the world coordinates and the quadrant coordinates, so we don't need to do this. So here you can do private and copy this, paste it here, semicolon, and then private, copy this, space, paste it here, semicolon, put an underscore here, and one over here. Now copy this, paste it here, equals, paste again, semicolon, remove this. Whoops, darn it. Copy this, undo, copy this, paste it here, equals, paste again, semicolon, and remove this.
And remove the L.
Save. So now we have that set up. So now this is very easy. Just copy quadrant chords, paste it here, comma, copy world chords, paste it here, enter, round bracket, semicolon, the other one, semicolon, shift tab, save. Let's actually do this so it's super clear. Save. So we are gonna send the save spawn information. Now we're not done. We also need to save everything else.
So health, money.
Yes. Now there's also another problem. We don't want to re-trigger this checkpoint over and over and over and over again.
We need to trigger just once and then.
Yes.
Because if we just stay standing on it for a bit more, it'll just keep triggering.
Right. So I'd like to trigger it one time. Yeah, I'd like to trigger it one time and then leave it untriggerable. But that means we're going to have to analyze whenever we enter a room. We need to analyze whether the checkpoint in that particular room, or a checkpoint, we may have multiple checkpoints in a room, I don't think so, but the checkpoint in that room, whether it's our spawn checkpoint. Because if it is, then we need to set it to non-triggered. Okay, so there's a few things we need to consider. This model has two materials.
Oh,
So
we have a bit of a SP error.
Yeah, well, obviously. There's stuff going on here. Or here, I don't know, whatever. It spikes. Sure. So call this one spawn. Just call it spawn. Copy, paste, save. There you go. So that's fixed. Now, we need to keep track of the spawn point material. I think our map should have that information. So let's find the map.
We have a lot of scripts.
Hit Control MO, it's a big game. Environment entities. Public.
Oh, not a partial.
Public. Material. Spawn point material. Semicolon. And here you're gonna do public color array.
Oops.
Spawn point colors. Semicolon. Save. Okay, so we're gonna have the material and the colors. Let's go and assign that right away. Since we're here, world. There they are. Two of them. One is gonna be some form of cyan, and the other one's gonna be some kind of green. And the spawn point material is going to be spawn point. Let me check this material real quick. Yeah, it only has that sign. We're good. Okay, so now that this is all ready to be used, our spawn point is going to need to know whether it's activated or not. So private bool activated semicolon. Now we're gonna have to check here in setup. We're gonna have to check if our player's spawn information in the player attributes is the same as our coordinates. So here you're gonna say if open round, and you're gonna say world chords. There it is. Equals. That's stored in the game manager. So game manager dot script dot player attributes. Dot spawn coords. And now end. Okay, now you're gonna say quadrant chords equals. Okay, manager dot script dot player attributes dot quadrant. That's the one. Close to the round. Open a squiggle. Then try to close it. So you can see that what we're gonna do in here is we're simply gonna say activated is true or false. So that's a bit stupid. Here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna show you something a bit complicated. Copy activated, paste it here, space equals. Copy this entire thing, paste it here. That's it. Save. So what does this mean? That activator is gonna take the value of whether this entire question is true or false. This entire question is only gonna be true when both the spawn coordinates and the spawn quadrant are the same as the world coordinates and the quadrant coordinates. Otherwise, if any of these conditions is not met, then it's going to be false, so it's not going to be activated. That's when we set it up. For on trigger enter, we're simply going to say activated equals true. So here we go, activated equals true. True, semicolon.
But it has to go back to false once you leave the room and come back.
No. When you leave the room and come back, your spawn coordinates can still be those.
You're right.
So here you go, void. And now you say update spawn point material.
Oops.
Save. And here you're gonna say map dot script dot material, whatever it was. There it is, spawn point material dot set color open round quote underscore color with a capital C close quote comma map dot script dot color point colors open square bracket. Now you're gonna say activated question mark. So if it's activated, which color do you pick?
If it's activated, we have the green.
So which number is that?
Number 1.
1.
Otherwise
Otherwise
0.
0. Close the square bracket, close the round bracket, semicolon, save. Alright, so we got this. Now you can copy this entire thing and you can paste it here. Wait a moment.
Oh.
Class view has
Pasted the wrong. I pressed the wrong button.
Oh, that makes sense. Copy this, paste it here, semicolon, and paste it here, semicolon, save. Right? So what's going to happen is that the material is going to
change when you step on it.
That's right. And we should also check that it's not activated, because if it's not activated, then we don't save. Right? So here go if open round not activated exclamation mark activated. That's the one. Close the round. Open a squiggle. Now close it here. Come on, potato. You want to save. You want to only do all of this stuff in here if
it is not activated.
Yes, it's not activated. You don't want to do it like there. So this one should be fine. Now I'm thinking, is there anything else here? Yes. Well, I would like to heal the player of all of his health points one time when you activate a spawn point. I think it's a cool little tactic. So let's go to the game manager dot script dot player dot try heal. That's it. Open round. Okay, wants an increment.
So we need to give it to max. I think we had some max health thing.
We do have max health in the player's attributes, which are found in the game manager. So go game manager dot script dot player attributes, one down. That's the one. Dot max health, max HP. That's the one. Close round. Semicolon. Save. So while we heal, we're probably in the heal function, we're going to add some kind of particle effect later that sort of heals you, right? So give it a save. I think it's already done. And everything should already work. I suspect. I hope. Save. And now let's see. So we've already assigned everything. Uh-oh. So there's one problem already.
Can't step on it.
Well, I know exactly why. Do you know why?
We did. It's our colliders.
Something's wrong with the collider. What?
Maybe we're colliding with the player. We have the spike thing on.
No. Oh, There's two problems. Number one, the collider is on the wrong place. The collider is currently placed in the model, so the spawn point can never find it because it doesn't have a rigid body. So we're going to copy this component and remove it. So that's the first problem, and this is a problem that we didn't notice yet. We would have noticed it next. Now this is gonna work, except it's all a bit bananas. So remove this and 0.6 over here, and we should be fine. So that's step number one. And step number two is it's not trigger.
Oh.
All right. Now, do you hear the ah?
Yeah.
It's because we heal ourselves.
Now we can't.
Now we can't.
We don't hear the ah.
But the serious question here is, if we leave, come right back. Ooh, it's the wrong color. That's interesting. Okay, so this is evidently wrong. So, see the problem?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And if we stop and launch, he's gonna do ah again, which is bananas wrong. So it's healed. That means it must have saved all of the switches and everything like that. Let's quickly check that it actually has saved the switch, that it actually works with the switches. So at least that we can check. But yeah, we're gonna have to. There's something wrong with the setup, and we're gonna check it out soon. Let's also check that the healing works. So I've hurt myself, and I've pressed the yellow switch.
Yeah, it works.
So it has healed me. And the switch is still down. Load. Is the switch going to be down? Is the spike going to be down? So the switch isn't down, which is a problem. The spike isn't down, which is another problem. Now, I can see at least two reasons why this could be. A, our methods. Oh, did we call the methods?
No,
I
we
don't
didn't.
think so. So that's one problem for sure. All right. So right here you can say gamemanager.script.save.
Or one of them.
Okay, so they're not there.
Them.
This must mean that they're private. So go public. Boop, click, space. Copy this. Paste. Save. Control MO. Something wrong. Okay. All spikes. Copy the entire thing. Paste.
All switches.
Save. Okay, so that's step one. Step two is figuring out why our setup isn't really kind of working right. On trigger enter could actually happen before this. So let's do two things. One thing we're gonna do here is type debug.log hello. Quote open round, quote hello. Close the quote, close the round, semicolon. So that's one step. Copy this entire thing, paste it here, and now copy this, paste it here, plus space quote space vs space close quote plus copy this, paste it here. Now plus copy this entire thing, paste it here, but here first put a quote there. Now copy this, paste it here, copy this, paste it here, save. Alright, so we'll see first of all which of these two triggers first. And second of all, we're gonna see what the situation is. My suspicion is that the world coordinates aren't what we think. But I'm not sure. Hello triggers second, which is good news. 64,416. As I thought. The world coordinates are not what we think they are. It's also interesting to see the quadrant coordinates are the world coordinates for our player. So this is the quadrant ID.
So so are these coordinates for the whole map?
Yes.
The world ones?
Yeah, the world coordinates are the coordinates for the entire map. Right? So spawn coordinates are the same as our quadrant coordinates. So copy this and put it right here. That's the first step. Paste it here as well. Save. Right? Now, the second problem is the spawn quadrant is a very good piece of information. But we don't know the current quadrant. So I have an easy solution for that. Copy this entire thing, paste it right here, and go current. Oh dear.
Not that.
Type quadrant. No, it's probably not here. It's probably in player. Quadrant, type Q. And that's it. So copy this entire thing, paste it here, save. Alright. Let's test. Boink. So we get a null ref. Debug log is a null ref. One of these is probably wrong. Save. Just launch it again and see what happens. I'm sure we're gonna get the same error, just in the next one. Yeah. So same error next line. This one is not a problem. We know that. This one's not a problem. This one's not a problem. This one will be the problem. So our player current quadrant must be null, or the player rather is probably null. So we got an issue. If the player doesn't exist, this is going to be a problem. There's a thing we could do. We could say if the player doesn't exist, immediately say activated is true. Copy all of this. It's a bit of a hack though. Copy all of this and go if open round paste is not null. Close round, open a squiggle, wait, close it, else, open a squiggle, hit enter, activated equals true. Semicolon. This should fix this bug and probably will work anyway. Except, yeah, so see it's already activated, but I bet you when we come back it's not going to be activated. And that's simply because what we saved originally is that weird number. But now, oh, we may have sent it the wrong thing. In fact, we almost certainly have, and yeah, exactly. We still sent the wrong thing. That's the problem. Right here, this is wrong. Quadrant coordinates.
World coordinates is right after.
Quadrant coordinates is already wrong. It's copy this and put it in the next one. And copy this and put it here. Save. And now it's going to work. But we're going to reset the save.
Okay.
So our little hack could actually work forever. Because now it's going to result into green. Oh, no, not really actually, because when you go on it, next, it's going to be blue. And then when you click it, it's going to be green and stay green. So it's green.
Looks good, green.
And now it's going to be green. Bums,
nope.
Is it? Okay, so there's a few things that are wrong here. Activated, blah, blah, blah. Copy this. Oh, no, we can't do that. we can't do that. Oh yeah, rubbish. So one bug at a time. So now we've got this problem that this stupid evil one here is still wrong. So here, go and do another debug.log. Just open and close. Open. Yeah, semicolon. Poo. Save. Oh, wait a moment. Are we ever loading that information? I don't know that we are. Huh? Save spawn information does nothing. That's quite funny. Okay, so, well, we don't need this debug log here. We know already what's happening. Save. So, save spawn information. So we need to go to player attributes now. So player attributes. Attributes. Dot quadrant or whatever. Spawn quadrant equals quadrant. Yeah, sure, semicolon. And then player attributes dot spawn chords equals chord. Semicolon, there's just one. Yeah. Sometimes we're bidding a system, sometimes plural, sometimes singular. Technically they are coordinates x and y, but then if I do that, I have trouble distinguishing a single vector 2 from an array of vector 2s. So I usually call them chord singular, which is not right, but yeah. And we need to save the profile after this. So, but wait a moment, let's quickly check that our let's quickly check what we're doing. Save all switches, save that. Okay, save spawn information. So cut this, put it right here at the end, save. So now it'll save the profile all the way to the end, at the end. And here you can go, but you know what, I don't quite like this. Let's copy save profile, and here you go, game manager.script.paste. Open, close, round, semicolon. Okay, now, so that's part of the problem solved. The other part kind of isn't, which is when the player is spawned. So when the player gets spawned and teleported in the right place and whatnot, let me see here, current quadrant, so I see that's fairly important. Target, player image, awareness, update HUD. I don't see anything that teleports us in the right place. So I'm guessing that's done at activation. Hit Control F to find this. The player program, quadrant size X, debug quadrant position. Debug quadrant position. I don't think we're using that.
Debug quadrant position.
Okay, player instantiate, and he's put the spawn chords. This is not great. This is not awesome. Yeah, we can't have this. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we are going to change the way the player is set up. I want you to go to the player and add another vector2 int, and chord. Yeah, save. And now we are going to say transform dot position equals. Now don't do anything. Copy all of this, paste it here, semicolon, copy chord, paste it, save. Save. Okay, so that's good. Now, what's gonna cry is that this guy is saying, hey, I don't know what this is. So here, instead of this, what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut this and put it right here. Save. Copy this and paste it here. So we're spawning, save. We're spawning the player in the air. And then we're gonna tell the player attributes dot spawn attributes, dot spawn chords. Save. Now that should all be correct, and it may work in fact. Save again. Let's see. And it's green and no right? This means it never triggered. It's good. Let's go back. Fridge. All right, let's go and find out what's happening. I hate you. Okay, debug.log, open round, close round, enter, close round, semicolon, shift tab right here, save, copy all of this, paste it here, move this, and this, and this, and this, quote vs quote plus, copy this, paste it here, save. And we're gonna comment this out as opposed to like removing it. Okay, so let's not maximize on play. Hit play. Save deleted, so that never happened. That makes sense. Now it will. 29, 114, 113. Now, isn't that interesting? That's very odd. So the spawn quadrant is apparently 13, but the current quadrant is 14. And the reason why this is because the current quadrant hasn't been changed yet. Meaning, excuse me, that the player, when you're switching location, right, and then teleporting the player, the teleporting of the player happens after. That's my bet anyway. So let's see, in fixed update, we fall, blah, 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 jump, whatever, or change quadrant. And you change the quadrant, current quadrant transform dot position. When you change the quadrant, Q next quadrant, P next map, setup map, P teleport player. See the difference? Mm-hmm. So you're putting the player after
the quadrant.
That's right. So let's cut this. This is a bit risky. Place it here. Save. If this doesn't work, which it could not work because the player requires the map to exist. Okay, he doesn't complain here. If he doesn't complain, the next one doesn't complain, and it's green. That's because we have changed the current quadrant first, then gone here. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
No, it doesn't. Does it? It doesn't, does it?
Yeah.
I don't know, you tell me. Do you understand or not?
Not that much.
Okay, so before you had, when we traveled down south, right, you noticed that the current quadrant coordinate was correct. But what was not correct was the current quadrant itself. The quadrant was marked as 113 for the spawn point and 114 for the player. That means the player is higher on which axis?
Y.
Y. So he's further north by one tile. Why?
So you have...
Why was he further north by one tile? So The previous situation here was this. Right? So here you calculate the next quadrant using get next quadrant. That would give you that 113. Yes?
Yeah.
Then you set up the map. When you set up the map, what's the current quadrant of the player at this point? 114 or 113?
113.
No.
Oh.
Just pay attention to the bloody code. Don't look at the boxes around here. Right? Q is what determines the next quadrant. Yes or no?
Yes.
What do you mean yes?
It says it right there.
Awesome. Thank you. So you're sending it the current quadrant, which arrives from somewhere. Most likely the player is sending it. Let's go check. That's my bet. There you go. Current quadrant. So it's sending its own current quadrant to the player. Now, next quadrant is calculated thanks to the direction we're going, which is our cardinal, and the current quadrant. So we get a next quadrant, okay? This one, what value is this going to be now? Q.
113.
Correct. Okay? Then P is going to be wherever we need to be in the position, which we already know is fine. Let's not worry about it. Now this is 113. Now I'm telling, set up the map at 113. At this very moment, while I'm setting up the map, what's the player's quadrant?
114.
Why?
Because you set up the map twice, so you got an
No,
extra.
you didn't set up the map twice at all.
No, I didn't mean that. I meant you already had 113, but since you set up the map.
No. When you call change quadrant, right at the beginning of this function, what value is this?
Where?
This one arrives from the player. What value is this?
113.
No. The player is currently in 114 going south towards 113. So what's this value?
114?
Yes, because if I will go south and I have 114, then this is definitely going to become 113. Otherwise, this is going to become 112 if I'm in 113. Right? It's going down. Awesome. So this one calculates itself to be 113. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. At what point here do you see the player changing his current coordinate?
Teleport player?
Yeah. And when does teleport player happen?
After you set the map up.
Right. Therefore, what is the value of current quadrant for the player here?
It's still 113.
No, 114. It's still 114. The previous one.
But before it was 113, then here would be 114, then here would be 113 again.
Okay, good. We're getting somewhere. At least you're not understanding and you're understanding what you're not understanding. I appreciate that. The fact that it says current quadrant here and the fact that it says current quadrant here, these are not the same variable.
Oh.
Why not? Here I'm in the player script. Here I'm in game manager script. Where is this current quadrant variable created?
Right, in change quadrant.
That's right, which means it's local, not only to game manager, it's actually local to change quadrant. Nobody else can see this variable other than change quadrant. This variable will not be saved, this variable will be thrown away. That's number one. Number two, I'm not changing current quadrant, I'm creating a new variable called Q. So current quadrant doesn't even change. So I've received 114 here, I've used 114 here, I've assigned 113 to Q.
So Q is 113.
Q is 113, but current quadrant is 114. And furthermore, the current quadrant that I've sent originally from the player has never been touched by anyone in any situation.
Oh.
So it's still 114. Do you see here the current quadrant of the player changing?
In this line, no.
No. Do you see it here?
No again.
Therefore, what value is the current quadrant at this point for the player? It's not changed, right?
No.
So what value is it?
It has to be 114.
Awesome. Now, if you're setting up the map, which goes and creates all of the tiles, etc., and then will eventually call spawn point setup. Spawn point setup will compare the current chord of the player, current quadrant, with the spawn quadrant. Now the spawn quadrant was 113 originally, so nothing to worry about. But the current quadrant, what is it at this time?
It's 114.
That's right. That's why you get 114 versus 113. Because they're different, activated goes to false. Because it goes to false, the thing goes to blue, and it's activatable. If we then cut this player, and we put him in front of the map setup, which is a bit weird, or looks a bit weird, because at least logically speaking, in my mind, you should prepare the world before you prepare the player. But anyway, here we're just teleporting the player. The player is never destroyed, right? So we teleport the player. We teleport him to the new quadrant, the one we've just created, Q.
So 113.
113. So we're telling, hey player, teleport to 113, and you'll see that it says current quadrant equals quadrant. So from this point on, the player's current quadrant is going to be 113 as well. Therefore, at this point, when we compare them, we're going to get 113 versus 113, and the thing is going to be correctly assigned. Now, you understand, I think?
Yes, now I understand.
All right. Remember, every time you don't understand, I want you to do two things. A, focus on what you see. Well, three, I suppose. B, focus on what you hear. And C, tell me, I don't get it. Right? Because the one thing you need to consistently remember that I don't think is clear. I had a lot of trouble understanding this when I originally started programming. Variables that are local, it doesn't matter that they're all called current quadrant. I could have 75 different variables called current quadrant. As long as they're all in different scripts,
But
they're not current quadrant. They are player.current quadrant, enemy.current quadrant, game manager.current quadrant, and so on. What? You wanted to interrupt me. What was it?
I don't remember, so useless.
You're more senile than I am. All right. Good. Let's go and test if this thing works properly, that is. So there's a few things we need to test. This is probably going to be the end of our day today, but anyway. So we can break this. Everything works. Now these should respawn even if we exit. This is our current design. Maybe a bad decision, but that's our decision. And there they are. The spawn point is green. Now, if I hit this switch and I go back down here, nothing changes. And because I cannot save, that switch is never going to get saved. So if I go back, that switch is going to be pressed, but temporarily. If I now stop the code, and by the way, tell it to stop resetting, that switch is going to be up next time we go there. Let's go test. But we have one coin.
It is.
And the switch is up. Awesome.
And we do have one coin.
We do have one coin.
Now the switch is down.
That sounded like two of these breaking. Unless I'm mistaken. Anyway. Now let's press the other switch too. Open the door, press this switch. Go through. And save. Stop the code. Play.
Stop the code.
Oops.
Double click the
I
code.
clicked it twice. And we're in the new place.
And
Going back, the switches are
are
correctly
stuck.
placed. Pressed. See, this one is pressed, this one is pressed, this one is depressed. That's normal.
Yeah, because
Okay, it's working fantastically well now.
this one was closed in the other place.
I must have saved when the bomb walked on it. That's my bad.
Uh-oh.
What?
Oh, X that.
No, it's fine.
I thought there was an issue. But nope.
So what's going to happen now is I'm going to pick up this glove. Now I'm going to stop the code and I'm going to show you something. When I hit play,
You will not keep the glove because you
I
saved
will
earlier.
keep it.
Huh?
Yep. I will keep it.
It's a permanent pickup.
That's the issue. So we've got a problem with all of our permanent pickups, meaning we should utilize these save points in a more permanent fashion. So they should essentially decide everything, and none of the information that you're storing at the moment should be saved until you save on a new save point. Now this is a problem, it's not easy to do because our entire infrastructure at the moment is saving whenever we do anything. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to create a new set of player attributes. We're going to do this next time because we ran out of time. But we're going to create a new set of player attributes. And that set of player attributes is going to be... excuse me. It's going to be sort of updated as you play. Okay? And then when you save, we're going to transfer all of those player attributes into the official player attributes and save them. So that way, if you stop the code, for example, if I pick up a code, say I get hurt there, right? Now if I stop
and start, you'll stay hurt.
I'll stay hurt. We don't want that, right? We want to make it so that if you start again, right, you are whatever state you have left when you hit that thing, and it's always going to be full health because that thing heals you when you hit it, right? But for that we need to make one small code modification, which is right in the spawn point. We need to tell it to heal first. That's the first thing we'll do. So cut this, paste it here, and we're good. I mean, we already were fine, but there we go. So update spawn point material, cut this. This one's actually irrelevant, so let's put it at the end. Save. So let's look at the logical order here. Heal, spikes, switches, save spawn information, and save profile. So all of these would all of these are perfect, but what's missing is that save the profile temporary information. That's what matters. That's what we don't have. That's what we must have next time. Okay?
Okay.
And on that note, thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you again next time.
Bye.
Bye.